Trey Songz, one of many brothers currently under fire with sexual misconduct allegations against him. What's up with all these brothers and all these allegations, man? Where's all this coming from? We're gonna sprinkle some game over this situation and see what we come up with, man. Let's go.
Bitch, you want all this pimping you can't afford. Perform like a punk, but want a winner's reward. Some suckers give you points, but bitch, you never scored. If you ain't paying pimping, then bitch, you getting ignored. Okay, I'm so sick of these.
Okay, now dig this. So as many of you know, Trey Songz has been under fire with all these sexual misconduct allegations against him, right? From several different ladies. Now, a new twist to the mix just came about. A young lady testified in court that the attorney of the accuser of Trey Songz, a woman by the name of Ariel Mitchell, propositioned her with $200,000 to lie and say that not only that she witnessed Trey Songz sexually assault her friend, but that he also sexually assaulted her. She testified that she met her at a bar in Miami, and then when they had this conversation, she had a gun on her and she smelled like marijuana. Now, this attorney, Ariel Mitchell, strikes me as a seedy individual. Now, she has an interview currently out with Tasha K, and I haven't seen the whole interview, but I've seen clips, and from the clips that I've seen, she just strikes me as somebody who's trying to work her way into the Gloria Allred, Lisa Bloom vein. And from the looks of things, she's trying a little too hard. One thing that stood out to me about the clips that I seen from the interview is when Tasha K asked her where the dollar amounts that they were seeking come from.
So how did you arrive at $20 million for Trey, one of the accusers, and $20 million for Chris?
Now, when she asked Tasha K how much her vagina is worth to her.
Tasha, tell me what your vagina worth to you.
As I often say, the smallest gesture speaks volumes. Now, that small gesture of that statement speaks volumes about the intentions, speaks volumes about what's inside this individual, what's driving this individual. When they make it transactional, it's almost as if the vagina was for sale and they're accusing these young men of stealing the vagina. Now, if it's truly rape, if it's truly sexual assault, why are there so many young women with these allegations and no one is seeking criminal charges? Everyone is seeking civil suits, which translate into money. You know, in most instances, naturally you would think a woman who's been violated would want to seek criminal charges. She would want to see the individual behind bars because that's something that strikes a woman emotionally. And when somebody is violated in that way, they'd want to put an end to the violations taking place with other people moving forward. They're gonna seek some legal action in the criminal sector. You dig? Now, this isn't the first time this Ariel Mitchell individual has looked a little faulty. Earlier this year, in another case where she was representing a young lady who had allegations against Chris Brown, Ariel Mitchell dropped out of that case when it was revealed through text messages and voicemails between Chris Brown and the young lady that their encounter was consensual. So when you look at that and you look at this situation and then you look at her in the interview bragging to Tasha K about how many cases are against these individuals.
I'm up to 5 individuals, 3 against Trey Songz and 2 against Chris Brown.
It smells like desperation. And what people don't understand about desperation is that desperation and calculation don't lead to the same destination. One leads to a game destination, the other one leads to a lame destination. And if you look at the writing that's on the wall, it's pretty obvious that this is a desperate individual. Now, what's sad is that you have so many celebrities, so many athletes, so many singers, so many rappers, so many actors, so many powerful figures, so many public figures that put themselves into this trick bag and set themselves up for the fall, allowing all these young ladies to come with these allegations. Now, what seems to be the case in most of these situations with most of these people is that they're not in tune with their value. They don't understand their importance. When you become a celebrity, when you become rich and famous, you have to understand your importance. You have to understand what you mean not only to yourself, but to so many people and how you make so much move. When you keep your value in mind, you're gonna protect that value, and you're gonna protect it by taking certain safety precautions. One of my favorite examples of someone taking these precautions and keeping their value in mind is Justin Bieber. Now, back some years ago when Justin Bieber was younger and single, whenever he had guests at his house for gatherings, he would make every guest there sign a non-disclosure agreement and a liability waiver, basically stating that each guest agrees to not speak publicly or post anything to social media about what goes on in the house, and if they end up injured or hurt in any way, that he is not liable for any of that. whether they hurt themselves sexually, playing basketball, in the swimming pool, or whatever. It was also speculation that even in these NDA agreements that these people would have to give up their social security numbers and leave their cell phones at the door. Might seem a bit extreme, but when you're Justin Bieber and you understand your value, there's no extremity to it. So why is it that these rich, famous, and powerful young men make themselves so easily accessible by just anyone? How come there's no red tape between them and just any old female that's setting it out there? Any old female that's open for business? How come they don't have any non-disclosure agreements? How come Trey Songz doesn't have terms that have to be set between him and whoever he spends his time with? How come Chris Brown doesn't have these terms? How come so many other celebrities who are currently under fire and who have been under fire in the past don't have these same terms set? Something as simple as making a recording, whether audio or video, setting the terms and both parties agreeing, or even better, like Justin Bieber did, drafting a legal document and having each party sign. And by the way, in Justin Bieber's case, if the guests who signed that agreement violated that agreement, they would have to cough up $5 million. The consequence is heavy, and that's what has to be understood. When you let these people around you, you have to set terms. They have to have rules in order to be around you. And if they violate these rules, the consequence has to be heavy. So heavy that they don't even think about violating these rules. In the documentation, that's your bulletproof vest, man. So whenever they shoot you with these allegations, they don't penetrate. This is why it's so imperative to not only have game, but to apply game. In these situations, there's so many guys that move around and they take their wallet from the house, they take their cell phone from the house, but they don't take the game with them. They move to all these different places, all these different cities and states, go to all these different functions, handle all this different business, rub elbows and shoulders with all these different kinds of people, slip and fall between all these different people's legs, but they don't take the game with them. You have to take the game with you. When you are a valuable individual and you understand your value, you have to take the game with you. Turn to your neighbor and say, take the game with you. All of these situations could be avoided if these people just took the game with them. See, when you involve yourself in situations, it's very easy to think about what you gain from the situation, but people often don't think about what they stand to lose in the situation and how they make themselves vulnerable. The more valuable you are, the more you have to lose, the more vulnerable you become when you surround yourself with females who have nothing to lose. You putting yourself around these desperate chicks that have nothing to lose. You gotta level the playing field somewhat. You have to be dealing with people who also have something to lose. You gotta make it count. And dealing with these dusty thoughts, man, when you a Trey Songz or a Chris Brown or any other celebrity, somebody that's important, somebody that people depend on, somebody that makes things move, somebody with influence and power, it makes no sense. You have to make it make sense. And there's so many ways to make it make sense when you have money and power and influence. But if you're not even mindful of making it make sense, and the only thing that makes sense to you is sensation, the only thing that makes sense to you is getting one off, you make yourself vulnerable. Like I say all the time, when you stand for less, you fall for more. And when you stand for dealing with people that have nothing to lose, people that the only thing they have going for themselves is their looks, people that are lazy, have no work ethic, mean nobody any good, are blessings to nobody, not their family, not their kids if they have them, not their loved ones, nobody. They mean nobody any good. The only thing they have going on for themselves is the fact that they are physically attractive. You can't have a decent conversation with these people. You can't have an intellectual conversation with these people. You can't relate to these people because your lifestyle is light years away from their lifestyle. It makes no sense. But y'all tap in that comment section, man. Let me know what you think about this situation. Give me some feedback. And also, make sure you watch the video that's suggested at the end of this video. Let that marinate on your mind one time. Freeze is it. Put some love in your body, and I'll holla.
Now come and take a sip of this game. Pour it down your ear and let it drip to your brain so you can run it up, run it up. And we'll be coming up, really coming up. Take a sip of this game, let it saturate your brain. Taylor, make your homework so we can match it with my name. Then attach it to your frame, right? Now you game tight. You gon' check her back the same night. Now you breaking tricks and handling thousands. While these bitches on the blade doing the mannequin challenge. Standing there looking stupid cause they has no